Hi everyone, the German Chancellor visits the Holocaust Museum, the Beit HaOmanim House of Art, learning about the Jewish calendar, and a special internet site supporting the Gush Katif evacuees. Let's get started. Shalom and welcome to Israeli Salad. First, let's begin with the visit of the German Chancellor, Dr. Angela Merkel. I joined Chancellor Merkel at the presidential residence in Jerusalem and at the Yad Vashem Holocaust Museum. It wasn't the first time that a German chancellor visited Israel. However, a visit of the leader of a country that not so long ago tried to annihilate the Jewish nation is not just any other official visit.
It
was very important for the Chancellor to come visit Israel as soon as possible after she was elected, as an expression of solidarity with the country of Israel and the Jewish nation.
After meeting Israeli President Moshe Katsav, Chancellor Merkel continued to Yad Vashem, the Holocaust Museum.
We know that we'll be able to build a good relationship between us through love and remembrance, and that's why every official visit to Israel includes the very important visit to Yad Vashem. What Nazi Germany brought upon the German people is a great responsibility that will continue to be with them. They'll have to learn about this and understand the consequences while at the same time building a democratic society.
The German Chancellor asked many questions as she examined the exhibits in Yad Vashem. In the Remembrance Hall, Merkel laid flowers on a monument covering ashes from the destruction camps. Chancellor Merkel was accompanied by Israeli and German embassy officials, as well as a number of Holocaust survivors.
She showed much interest in how life was in the ghetto. She asked me, "What did you do? Where did you work? Who's left from your family?" She learned new things that she told me that she never knew about, and she wants to continue to learn. She understands the guilt of the German nation from then, and I had the impression that she wants to repair as much as she can.
The rebirth of Hebrew art and beauty in the land of Israel. This is what Rabbi Cook wrote relating to the establishment of the first art academy in Israel in the year 1906. Today, 100 years later, the Bezalel Art Academy is considered a secular institute, as many outside influences are felt in the art. However, the artist's house that was established by the founder of Bezalel still preserves the spirit of Jewish art that was the essence of the establishment of Bezalel. INN TV's Kobe Finkler and Tennis Samuel visited the artist's house. An old building in Jerusalem contains the history of the rebirth of Jewish art in the land of Israel. Boris Schatz, who started the Bezalel Art Academy 100 years ago, founded Beit HaOmanim, the artist's house.
100 years to Bezalel is 100 years of art in the land of Israel. From the destruction of the Holy Temple until 1906, there was no actual artistic expression here. When Bezalel was founded, the old settlement was here. There was no modernism, and there was a lot of poverty and hunger. Boris Schatz came at the end of the 19th century to rest, and then he had the vision to establish the Art Academy for handcrafts. His vision was that the reborn Hebrew art would learn from the Hebrew sources, the Midrash and the Bible. Here we can see the biblical influences on the frame of the picture. We see the tomb of Rachel, the Western Wall, and the redemption from Egypt.
Boris Schatz had two children, Bezalel and Zohara. It was actually Zohara who brought her father's heritage to the Israeli awareness. The six-branched menorah in memory of the Holocaust victims is part of her artwork. Another menorah is seen on the roof of this structure.
One of the stories I heard was that this was the first electric light that was lit in Jerusalem. It was lit in 1917 when the Hebrew legions returned from Egypt.
Beit HaOmanim hosts temporary art exhibits that portray the spirit of the Hebrew art, from the establishment of the institution as the beginning of the Israel Museum until today.
Beit HaOmanim presents around 30 exhibitions per year, so whenever you come, you'll see something new.
זה מקום שתמיד רציתי ללמוד, אני ניצולה בשואה ולא יכולתי להגיע.
I've always wanted to learn here. I'm a Holocaust survivor and I couldn't learn art until I arrived in the land of Israel. And by the time I got here, I was too old.
So next time you visit Jerusalem, enter Beit HaOmanim, because Bezalel is not only a name, it's a heritage of Hebrew art in the land of Israel. Admission to Beit HaOmanim, by the way, is free. The first mitzvah precept which God gave the Jews as a nation was Kiddush HaChodesh, the obligation to establish and maintain the Jewish calendar. Each month, the Jewish court had to convene and await the arrival of witnesses who saw the new moon. If their testimony proved the sighting was accurate, the court proclaimed that the day is Rosh Chodesh, the first day of the month. Today, you can find Hebrew calendars everywhere. Now, these calendars are based on calculations, not witnesses and testimonies. A unique institute in Israel is involved in teaching the traditional method of determining the Hebrew calendar. The first day of Shvat was marked on Monday, January 30th. This according to a traditional calendar that was determined after the destruction of the Holy Temple. Turns out that if we were today in the time of the Holy Temple, the Rosh Chodesh, the first day of the month, would actually be marked a day later.
If today we'd be sanctifying the moon by eyesight, Rosh Chodesh would be marked on Tuesday and not on Monday.
At the Center for the Study of the Sanctification of the Month in Keren B'Yavne, the topic of sanctificating the new month is studied thoroughly. To determine by eyesight when the Jewish month begins, one must be familiar with many scientific details regarding the moon.
הצורה של הירח משתנית מחודש לחודש, הגובה שלו משתנה, הזווית.
The shape of the moon changes from month to month, the height changes, the angle, and more. This diagram was used to ask those who witnessed the new moon precisely what they saw. A thin part of the moon or a thicker part, and as you can see, there are also different angles. This could help the court and the witnesses to understand how the moon was seen.
Since the destruction of the Holy Temple and the dispersion of the Jewish nation throughout the world, the traditional procedure of sanctification of the new month has become impossible, and so a new method was necessary.
Today we determine the new moon according to calculation, the calculation of the new months. This is a calculation that began nearly 1700 years ago by Rabbi Hillel.
The center holds lessons for all ages. Many topics are discussed, like the new moon, the Hebrew calendar, adding an extra month to the year, Jewish astronomy, and more. So when you gaze at the moon tonight, remember, there are many Jewish concepts and ideas relating to our nearest celestial neighbor.
Be sure to visit the Israeli Salad website. On the Israeli Salad site, scroll through all the editions, see what topics were presented on each program, and simply click on the icon to watch your favorite program. Also, watch all our fantastic music videos featured right here on Israeli Salad. So be sure to click on www.israelnationaltv.com/salad.htm. That's www.israelnationaltv.com/salad.htm.
The difficult situation of the Gush Katif evacuees is something that the Israeli media, as well as also the international media, has not given enough attention. Scattered throughout the country, the expelled have a hard time conveying clear and united messages. A group looking for ways to help the evacuees decided to help bring them together by using the internet. It's been almost a half a year since the expulsions, and many of the evacuees are still without any permanent solution. However, their voice is still unheard, and their difficulties aren't on the public agenda. The Cholot website is a stage for the stories, the memories, and the hardships of the Gush Katif and Shomron evacuees.
We chose the name Cholot Nodadim, or Wandering Sands, because of its double meaning, the Gush Katif scenery and also the wandering people. What we have in this website are blogs, personal diaries. People write whatever they want relating to the trauma they experienced. Some people decide to go back to the good days. Some would rather relate to the days of the closure of the Gush. Some talk about the expulsion itself, and some decide to talk about what's going on with them now. In any case, this gives relief to people who have a lot piled up in their mind. In addition to all this, our site is used to document, and it will probably also have use in the future. And above all, we hope the site will raise the public awareness to the situation of the expelled. They've been erased from the public awareness in the country and in the world. They don't exist. We want to bring the story back to the people.
Working on the website, founders of the Cholot Nodadim had to adapt to the situation of the evacuees.
It's very hard for people to expose themselves and talk, and so we made it easier by declaring that they don't have to identify themselves by name. It's also hard because many do not have any access to computers because, well, they're still at hotels. Another problem is that people are involved a lot in negotiations with the authorities, and so they don't have the mental calmness to sit down and write. So what we did is put together a group of volunteers who we sent off to the hotels. In the hotels, each volunteer sits down with an evacuee, and they write down what the person tells them.
The Khajbi family from Neve Dekalim was the last family expelled from the community. Today, the Khajbis live in 2 hotel rooms. Racheli is talking with Hadass, who will update Racheli's personal diary on the site.
I met Hadass in the lobby. She asked me if I'm interested in writing. Before the expulsion, I used to write a lot. Whenever I needed to feel free, I used to write. But since we've arrived here, I've tried many times to pick up a pen and paper, but I was unable to write anything. It's as if I have some sort of disability. And so I told Hadass that I couldn't do it. I said, I'm unable to write, and so now I talk and she writes. Last Saturday night, I succeeded in writing for the first time. It's very important that people understand what we went through. I talk about all the uncomfortable things that we deal with, but that's easy compared to talking about Neve Dekalim, a place I've known since I remember myself. Neve Dekalim is everything for me. I feel that a part of my heart is still there in the ruins of my home.
In addition to the therapeutic value, the website is also seen as a tool against further expulsions and withdrawals.
The public will understand. The issues that they represent will rise again. It must happen because the injustice is terrible. We are contributing to this so that the issue will be heard out loud. Today I was riding in a cab and the cab driver said to me, "Come on, enough, it's not that bad." I don't want this to happen, that people think it's not so bad, because if it's not so bad, why not continue to Beit El, Ofra? If it's not so bad, why not do it again?
Now here's the Cholot Nodadim English site, www.sanddunes.org. Okay, that's all for this week. Join us again next week for another program. Until then, from all of us here at INN TV, Shalom, and although we're already after Rosh Chodesh Shvat, Chodesh Tov, a great month to everyone.